There's a reason home field advantage exists in sports. There's a certain lift athletes get when they play in front of their home fans on their home field. There isn't a science behind it. It's as simple as playing on a familiar field with the support of an entire stadium. For Ithaca cornerback Khiry Brown, playing at Jim Butterfield Stadium is about as much of a home field advantage as possible. Khiry Brown moved back and forth between Ithaca and Syracuse as a kid before settling near the South Hill and enrolling at Ithaca High School. As a kid, he played football, baseball, basketball, and ran track. After moving back, he could not find a baseball team, so he decided to invest more time in football. On the field, he started as both a running back and a cornerback. He liked each position equally until the 10th grade, when then Seattle Seahawks starting cornerback Richard Sherman, who is Brown's favorite player, indirectly influenced him to play solely cornerback. From the start, Brown had connections to the Ithaca community. His mother is currently the cheer coach for the high school, and two of his cousins, Tajay Henderson and Rakeem Jones, played for the Bombers just a few years before him. But the connection goes even deeper than that.
I was a big fan of Jordan Shem when I came here, so I came up here a lot to watch him. Will Gladney, me and him were high school buddies or whatever, play basketball against each other a few times and with each other a few times, so I knew Will.
Just to top it all off, Brown's football coach at Ithaca High School, Kelly Gordon, was an All-American with the Bombers. Even with the deep connections and the convenient location, Brown did his due diligence when looking for a college to play for. The Cortland Red Dragons recruited Brown and had him come to Corsica one year. What they didn't know is that he wasn't really there to watch the team in red.
When I got recruited by Cortland, they gave me free Corsica tickets, so I just used those free tickets to watch Ithaca play.
Brown was further convinced to commit to the Bombers after Coach Dan Swanstrom was hired before the 2017 season. Brown said the day Coach Swanstrom was hired, he reached out to Brown, and by his second day as Ithaca's head coach, he was already meeting Brown at one of his high school basketball games. Between the family connections, the distance, and the support of the college, becoming a Bomber was just too good of a package to turn down. Brown has been a member of the team since he came to Ithaca College in 2017, but was only able to crack the starting lineup this season. That isn't entirely his fault. Ithaca had a solid, upperclassman-heavy secondary in 2017, with Jordan Shem, Aaron Francis, and Mike Miller leading the charge. Last year was more of the same. Aaron Francis and Javonte Long, who are now cornerback coaches for the Bombers, were both first-team All-Liberty League last season. There was no opening for Brown to play on a unit that was amongst the best in all of Division III football. In his first 2 seasons, he played in all 20 games, but only managed 16 total tackles and a fumble recovery. The 2019 Bombers graduated 8 defensive starters from last season, so there was an opening for Brown to finally make his mark on the field. For the season opener versus St. Vincent, Brown was listed as the backup for Anthony Robinson, who would be making his first collegiate start. Fellow cornerback Acap Takor, who was also making his first start as a Bomber, went down with an ankle injury and would not be able to play against Alfred the following game. What did that mean for Brown? For the first time as a Bomber, he would be a starter. He was going to prepare for this game the same as he would any other one, do the same thing in practice, and try not to add any pressure to himself. He could tell himself that all he wanted, but in reality, he was a little nervous for his first start as a Bomber.
I was definitely a little nervous before the game. Before every game, I talked to my mom on the phone. My mom wasn't able to be at the game, unfortunately, but I talked to her before the game. I was pretty nervous, but it helped with my family being here, just being able to be comfortable with my guys, my teammates.
Whatever he did before the game against Alfred worked. The Bombers' defense limited the Saxons to only 152 yards through the air while collecting 2 interceptions. After a Bombers turnover, the Saxons wanted to respond trailing 10-3. As they had for the majority of the first half, they tried to test the young corners. When they went Brown's way on a 3rd and 19, he did not disappoint, skying for an interception in the end zone. Needless to say, the emotions were running high for Brown after saving a touchdown.
I was definitely happy. Been worked really hard for it past few years.
Confidence is key for any athlete, but Brown thinks it's extra important for defensive backs. The group undoubtedly got a confidence boost from defensive coordinator Mike Turper's belief in the young tandem. Coach Turper knows there's only one way for the young corners to improve week in and week out.
The corners really, it's going to come with game experience and confidence.
Brown got the first start jitters out of the way, but there was a new kind of pressure for the Bombers. After 8 top 25 teams lost in a hectic Week 3, Ithaca found themselves ranked 13th in the nation, their highest ranking since 2004. Week 4 brought a tough non-conference matchup in the St. John Fisher Cardinals, who came in at 3-0 and led the nation with 9 interceptions. Ithaca's defense played well in the first 2 games of the season and put together an impressive first half against St. John Fisher. The second half was a different story, as the Cardinals scored 22 unanswered points and cut a 25-point deficit to just 3. Even after seeing the lead disappear, Brown and the rest of the defense remained confident in their ability to win the game.
We all trust each other on this defense, on the team, period. We all trust each other, like I said. We know that we need to all do our 111th, and that's just what we pride ourselves on.
The play of the defense backs up what Brown said about the unit's confidence. With their backs against the wall, the defense shut out the Cardinals' potent offense over the last 12 minutes of the game. Still, the Cardinals found themselves on their own 47-yard line, with 1 timeout remaining, a minute 11 remaining on the clock, and most importantly, the ball. Freshman quarterback Hunter Walsh was closing in on 500 passing yards for the day, and down by 3 points, he had a chance to complete a comeback of epic proportions. Momentum was on St. John Fisher's side. It was starting to look like they could pull it off. There was only one problem. The drive lasted 6 seconds. With the game on the line, Khiry Hollywood Brown, playing in his hometown, made the biggest play of his collegiate career. From his own 47, here's the snap on first down. Looking deep, led his way, and intercepted by Khiry Brown. Second straight game with an interception by Brown. Making a game-winning interception is an enormous play. But making a game-winning interception on your home field in front of your entire family, it doesn't get much better than that.
All my family was here. My grandma, my brother, my cousins, they were all here. And I was like, oh, so that it's like a big sign of relief because, everybody, a lot of people from Ithaca did come down to watch me play. Me finally starting, now everyone wants to come watch and see me playing. So I was like, damn, it means a lot to, get a pick in front of my family, especially my mom, because my mom couldn't be here for the first pick.
The play was huge. It moved the Bombers to 3-0 and elevated them to number 11 in the D3 football rankings. There were plenty of question marks for this defense coming into the season, and although they've responded well, they'll face tougher opponents than St. John Fisher later in the season. The defensive backs will have a spotlight on them, so they'll have to show they're up to the task. One player who's done that is the hometown kid, Khiry Brown. For WICB Sports, I'm Matthias Wallman.